This is Rosie the Rabbiter.
Hi, Rosie the Rabbiter.
And that's Miss Cleo.
Hello, I'm Clint,
And Nancy Bradfield.
and we are the founders of Rosie's Snuggle Bunnies, sometimes known as Rosie the Rabbiter.
Is it real?
Yes, they are real.
It's pretty unique when we roll around in our strollers. People, have to take a double take. They're like, is that a rabbit? And they're expecting a baby, but I said, no, it's a therapy rabbit.
See those eyelashes? She's got big eyelashes, doesn't she?
The Flemish giant rabbits are used a lot as emotional support animals for folks with PTSD and anxiety.
Can you make your nose look like hers? John, you do a pretty good job of that.
Our two established places that we've had since the beginning of our time with therapy has been Wesley Children's Hospital and Bob Dole VA Center.
So we have a guy at the VA that we've been seeing for about 3 years now. He is in a wheelchair, really not too mobile, really isn't able to verbalize things very well at all. But he always lights up when I come in with the rabbit. I recall the nurses coming back about a year after I'd been going to see him, and the nurses were saying, the only time that we ever hear him being very verbal with anything is when he's holding that rabbit.
My most memorable times was just recently. I was at Wesley Children's Hospital. One particular little guy that we were seeing was in the pediatric intensive care, and he had his left hand was all constricted back up, and his right was pretty constricted, but not as much. But he was in his wheelchair, and we talked to him, and I put Rosie down, and I kind of rubbed her back and forth underneath his right hand, and all of a sudden his left hand just started to relax. And the more we rubbed his hand over top of Rosie, the more his left hand relaxed. And the nurses were just astonished that they had never seen him relax that constricted arm.
What do you think about that?
Cute.
When people ask us why we do this, it's really an extension of God's love. It's our way to show our love to anybody out there in need, whether it be a veteran or a kiddo with cancer or their family that's sitting alongside them at the hospital. We've manned this since the start, just Clint and I. We both have full-time jobs. It was hard to find the time, but we wanted people to be able to have this service, so we really want to expand our program to include more people and more rabbits.
She is 4 years old.
We do have plans for in the future to develop a program for the Kansas veterans, so we can provide an animal that they would have in their own home as their own pet, their own emotional support animal.